Welcome, guys. This is Albert Bostic and DC of DC Soap Sanctuary. We are doing our General Hospital Best and Worst collab. How do you feel, Albert?
I've been waiting for this for a while. Like, I've been looking for it for a while. So, I've been, hyping up the subscribers and stuff like that about our collab. So, What about you?
I'm super excited. I am super excited to get right into this. Especially, we are reviewing the storylines from the years. We're gonna waste no time. We're gonna hop right into this. The first one we're gonna start off with, I think we'll just do a best and a worst. We'll kind of flip back and forth here between. Let's first start off with one of the best, which is the Metro Court hostage storyline back in 2007. That put the show back on the map again.
All right, boys and girls, here we go.
This is a robbery. Cooperate, and it will be over in 5 minutes.
Now. What do you think made that storyline the best?
I loved it. It was great. You had a bunch of characters. You had Jerry Jacks, who I love that guy, by the way. Like, the actor, he always plays the best villains, so he just works like for the show.
I think the best part of it was when he had the gun and Sam was getting ready to press the emergency button and he said, "How badly do you want to be Employee of the Month?"
Excuse me, how badly do you want to be Employee of the Month?
And that's when you got the Damien, the Spinelli and Jason team up the first time. That's what they meant.
Hey, right. That storyline, I think what made it so good was that it was an ensemble cast of characters. You had everybody in there. I mean, we don't have storylines like that, because when everyone's in one room, something's about to go down.
Yeah, no, it was great. You had a bunch of people, and it was one goal. It was pretty much just get out alive. You knew Jason was a badass. Like, he came in there to rescue everyone. Now, granted, he does, kill people and stuff like that, but he was the hero in that storyline,
Yeah, he was. I mean, it brought on Jerry Jacks, which is like one of the all-time GH villains. I mean, and then we had the death of Alan Quartermain, which that kind of that carried on story for the Quartermains as well at that time. Yeah. Let's move on down to the second one on the list, which is the water pathogen story.
If you're wondering who orchestrated this brush with death, wonder no more. You're looking at him right now. You see, I made Alexis and Jocelyn sick.
What do you think makes that one of the best?
I think it's pretty much the same thing. Like, they all had to work together, and you had to get like the richest people. You had to get Todd, he came over to the show. You had Sonny, you had the Quartermains, like, everyone was working together. And I think this is also a crossover. You had people from One Life to Live, like John McBain. I think even Blair came on there at one point. So it was really great. Just seeing everyone work together.
How did you feel about that crossover at One Life to Live? Because people had mixed feelings about that at the time when they came on. I loved it though, but what did you think?
You know what? In a lot of ways, they kind of hurt One Life to Live a little bit. Like, they killed off Cole, they killed off Star's daughter, and it was one of those things where it's like, these characters are on loan, right? Like you're not keeping these characters, you're just using them for a certain amount of time. And the minute they got, we're gonna change this, we're gonna kill off that person, it's like, like, that's just how I felt about it. What about you?
Yeah, when they brought them on, I was so excited when they brought the One Life to Live people on, but they were just scattered all over the place. And then when the Prospect Park lawsuit came, that just totally decimated them. I mean, Michael Easton's character has been working for him. Like, he's been John Vane, then he was Silas Clay, then he was Caleb Moore, then he was now he's Hamilton Finn, and then they made Todd now Franco, and that was one of the worst. That was just like, I get it, they had no choice, but that was just terrible.
What about Star being Kiki? Because they did that too for a little bit.
Yeah, they did. They brought, I was willing to accept that. I'm like, because like I said, we had no other choice but to accept it. I get it, they're on contract, so I was like, I had to accept that. It definitely was a little awkward with her being Kiki, but I'm like, okay, I'll work with it. What am I gonna do? But when they made him Franco, I was like, oh gosh, it was just because Todd's Manning character wasn't a serial killer. So even though there was a whole Marty Saybrook thing, he was able to be redeemed. I feel like after some time, it had been years, but the Franco thing was still fresh. You know what I mean? That was still a very fresh storyline. So, and then Carly was with Franco for a little bit when, Roger Howard's Franco. Like, lest we forget. That was just so weird. That made no sense to me. That was years where Carly was just all over the place. She was with Johnny Zakara, then she was with Todd Manning, then she was with Franco. It was a mess. Jerry Jacks behind it all, the mastermind, and he had to get the millions of dollars. I was like, oh man.
The devil's hand or something like that. They had to like figure it out or whatever. Like, why did he want a specific amount of money? It wasn't that they were saying something like the devil's, some sort of card game or whatever that.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, everybody was in that storyline because like from Emma Drake and then Edward Quartermain, that was the last scene Edward Quartermain had, was the one at the hospital where he gave Emma the little thumbs up. It
was tough to watch, B. Even back then, like that was a little tough to watch though, because you knew, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when he was like done off the show, that was it.
Oh man, like I felt that. I felt that. See, now at this point, I don't even want another mob family coming to GH because we've had the Drones, we've had the Zakaras, we've had, I know, the Alcazars.
I do miss him as Alcazar though. Like he was one of my favorites.
I did love the Alcazars. I totally love the Alcazars, which honestly, this could actually segue us into the third best before we get to the worst list, is the text message killer, which we all know who was Diego Alcazar. Let's talk a little bit about that one. What did you think about that storyline? The text message killer, the TMK, as he's known.
I think at the time when I was watching it, I didn't really care so much about like the Georgie and Maxi and Dylan stuff. I mean, the only thing that actually really made me interested was when I found out that it was Alcazar's son. Mm-hmm. I found out that it was him. That's when I got like interested. But like when I was watching in the beginning, I just never really cared about their stuff, like at all. Like it just didn't work for me. Like I was there for Sonny and some of the other characters, but after that,
love Sonny.
I just didn't care.
I had read in the magazines they said it was gonna be somebody from the past, and so they kept bringing up Alcazar's name. So I'm like, okay, I guess it's Alcazar. But then when it was Diego, I was like, whoa, because I never would have expected him because he had a great relationship with Georgie. So that was weird, but I guess it's because his sister Stage died because of Jason and Sonny, and that made sense. But that was like a good one. The text messages he would send out, I was like, yeah, that was good. And he's the reason why we don't have Emily Quartermain no more. But that storyline to me, that was pretty good, honestly. I thought that was really pretty good because, like. But we all know when they do serial killer storylines, they're doing budget cuts. Budget cuts are happening. And this is the way that they get the story. Like, say what they had the Salem Strangler back in 2004. Or the Necktie Killer, which is most recent.
I think Sage got killed by some deranged woman now. It was Nicholas's the person that was going out with Nicholas, like she must have went crazy or something like that. I think that's the person who wound up killing Sage.
Sage, right. Man, God, that storyline was so good. So that brings me to one of the worst storylines, which let's just get this one out the way because it's the most modern one that we can get into. It's the most recent one. Is good old Nixon Falls.
All I ever wanted is for you to be happy.
Good. Then can you leave and forget what you saw here?
Oh my goodness. And again, we talked about this before, as far as like it going in the direction that it went. I felt like Sonny was supposed to be the person to take out Cyrus, but and it's weird because I'm getting conflicting stories. Like some people were saying it was Maurice, choice to sit there and do this Nixon Falls storyline. Then there's other people that sent there saying that like some of the writers or whatever, like the producer, pretty much asked him to do it, and he said that he would do it. Either way, it was not the original intended. Like it wasn't originally intended for Sonny not to be able to take out that guy, and the way it lasted that long is just it's. You know what? You go first because I feel like I'm just gonna ramble. You go first.
You brought that up in your review. I was like, wow, that makes so much sense because it definitely him fighting with Julian it's not part of the storyline, but then the Nixon Falls storyline just felt so out of place, and him falling in love with Nina. And so when you brought that theory up, because then you brought up some other examples too, like when I think it was Alexis and Laura running for mayor, and then Alexis just all of a sudden got out the election, or I think it was Laura, was one of those two. And Laura was she just left the election out of nowhere. And it's like how you said that it wasn't the intended original storyline, because it makes sense because it did seem like they were leading up for Sonny to take down Cyrus. It seemed like it. And then for them to just have him just be Nixon Falls for 8 months and him not want to know who he is, like
definitely. And the thing is, it's not just that he doesn't want to know who he is. He kept sitting there blaming his family. He was all like, oh, well, my family didn't sit there. Like, why didn't my family sit there and try harder to get to me? And I'm like, you're a grown-ass man. Don't you have kids? Like, it literally seemed like it just made no sense. Especially seeing how he found time to Google, who was that guy named Elijah? But he didn't sit there and Google himself or Google missing persons.
Yeah.
Like, there's just a lot of stuff that's common sense that just, it don't add up. Even for, let's say, us following soap opera logic, there's certain things that's just like, come on.
Say this, and I might sound just as delusional as Nina right now, but I kind of like her and Mike together.
No, I remember you said that. And you said that, and I rewound it a couple of times because I was like, nah, I just want to hear him say it again. I want to make.
I'm just as delusional as G. I'm like, I kind of like them together. I hate to say it.
It's different if she didn't know Sonny. You know what I'm saying? She didn't know Sonny. She didn't know their family. They got together, and now she's trying to keep this thing. Yeah, I think a lot of people would have not, they would have accepted it, and there would have been people that would have been for it. The problem is she has too much background knowing who he is.
Let me ask you this, because we know Nixon Falls on the worst storyline, but what do you think they could have done instead? Because we know the actor wanted to do something different. What do you think they could have done differently with this storyline, or maybe a different storyline altogether? What do you think they could have done?
I think, here's the thing. It's not so much that I wasn't a fan of it, but okay, fine. You want to sit there and go in the direction. 8 months? Like 8 months, that's a long time.
I can't even believe it's been that long.
I felt like they could probably shorten it a little bit. What did you thought that they could have did differently? Or
I think honestly, for one, I feel like Mike and Nina, like, if they did it differently in a way where maybe Nina didn't know it was Sonny, or if she maybe thought it was him, it looked different or something like that, then when he came back to Port Charles, it could have been a love triangle, 2 love triangles going on at once. Jason, Carly, and Sonny, and then Sonny, Carly, and Nina.
You know what? If they would have actually brought in, and it's weird, if they would have brought in a different act, like if they would have brought in somebody new and have, that person fall in love with Sonny and then bring them on to the show, you know what I'm saying? Like as far as back to Port Charles or whatever, that would have worked.
Let's go on to the next list of the worst is Levi Dunkelman, which I feel like that's like a blast to pass, that name.
How am I supposed to know where Maxi is? I'm not in charge here.
I'm not playing games, West.
Neither am I, Dunkelman. Or what is it, Harold now? It's an upgrade, by the way, although I think Dunkelman was a little bit more fitting. Who am I kidding? Son of a bitch is really the only name that applies, right?
I don't need this one. But I do need answers. Where did she go?
What are your thoughts on that story? I only know such a little bit of a brief amount of how he's involved with Maxi. So tell me, what did you feel about that storyline? Give us like a quick synopsis of what that storyline even was.
It just felt like it just, in a lot of ways, I felt like it made the character Maxi very weak, like very weak-minded.
Right.
There's things in their relationship that she knew wasn't making a lot of sense, but she kept going with it though.
Right.
Like, literally kept going with it. And even though like at the time Nathan was obviously a better choice, she was just like, nope, I'm just gonna sit there and keep going along with Levi. And even though stuff wasn't adding up, she just kept going with it. And it's like, all right, for a while, Maxi was kind of a ditzy character, but she wasn't stupid. There was a lot of stupidness that was going on in a relationship, and she just kept going with it. I don't know if she wanted to prove herself, like she was talking about some eat, love, pray thing where she went away and that's how she met Levi, but like after a while it's like, come on, your parents don't like him, don't like him. There's a lot of stuff that's not adding up, and yet you're still with him.
But Max had a lot of bad decisions since back then. And it's interesting because I was watching a video the other day when the GH cast was on Katie Couric's talk show like years ago. And Frank Valentine was saying how Spinelli and Maxi are soulmates.
Lucky that we have a lot of really interesting younger super couples right now. I think Maxi and Spinelli will always be a super couple as much as their paths have crossed back and forth. I think there's, again, two great young actors and they just have phenomenal chemistry with one another.
I'm like laughing myself because I look at the writing now, that's totally opposite. I mean, that was 8 years ago that he said that, but I'm like, the writing now does not support that.
Yeah. I don't think the writing actually supported back then either.
Right? It really did. So what was going on though with Levi? Was he working like with the WSB or something, or was part of some cult? Like, what was his storyline exactly, Max? Do you remember?
No. I remember like he was doing something underhanded. I don't exactly remember what it was though. Because when I started watching it again, you know, like I was already like towards the end, I guess, of that storyline.
Yeah.
So I didn't really understand his motives or anything like that, or why he was doing what he was doing. So yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Let's move on to the next book we got here on the list is the new Christina. I remember you brought this up. The new Christina.
Chris, I'm sorry. I thought this is what you wanted.
I do. There's something you need to know about me.
Oh my God. God, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. You're a virgin.
No. I lost that and a whole lot more to my high school boyfriend. I hadn't been with anyone since then. I just haven't. I haven't met anyone I really wanted to get close to.
Okay, so this guy he's a tough act to follow, huh?
Kiefer was really smart, cute. He was every girl's dream.
And I remember this was the Christina that was casted during the Water Pathogen storyline, and she was dating Connie Falconier's son Trey. So talk to me a little bit about that when we get into that. And I felt a little weird with the new Christina too. It wasn't the same for me either.
You know what it is? When she came back as new Christina, she was very selfish.
Yeah.
And very full of herself. I remember, I guess that guy Joey, whatever, sent there trying to prop her up to do some sort of reality TV show.
Yeah. And
practically threatened her parents by saying, well, if we don't do it, then I'm going to leave forever and you'll never see me again. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, good. Because then I don't have to see you again. But like things where it's like you must be really full of yourself to sit there and think that you have that much power over your parents to sit there and get them to do something that they don't want to do simply because they love you that much. Like it just, I just was so not a fan of that. And plus her like the actress, I wasn't a fan of the actress either. Like the whole damn thing just didn't work.
Yeah, it felt off. The whole thing felt off. And you know the thing is, like with recasts, I feel like a lot of times what happens with recasts that I find is that it's almost like they change the character's personality with the recast. which sometimes makes me feel a little weird when they do that. Like they'll change the person's entire personality. Like they're like, okay, remember the first Michael? Well, not the first Michael. The first Michael was the kid. The second Michael, the one that was screaming crazy in the hospital, you know, when he came back, it was played by Drew Garrett at the time. He was screaming. He was like, ah! You know, he was just going buck wild. And then that's when they recast him with the Michael we have now. Like it was like months apart. And those two Michaels had two different personalities.
Like the one thing I noticed about like whenever they recast something, like whenever they recast someone, you have to give them a certain amount of leeway, because you have to remember that when they recast someone, or like whenever they're playing a part, but they're playing it a little bit from their personality. That's true. Like, okay, you look at Drew, like you look at the, you know, Drew that was Jason at one point, and you look at Cameron Madison's Drew. They're played a little bit differently because they're just not going to play the character the same.
Right.
It's like a little bit of leeway, but at the same time, you just got to make sure that they don't suck. I think that's the important part.
The new Christina at that time, I did like her with Trey. I got to admit, I liked her with Trey, which was Connie Falconeri's son. And I was actually liking the storyline they gave Connie at the time. I was really liking it.
No, it was Joe Scully's son.
Yeah, she had a son with Joe Scully.
Right.
Yeah, Connie had a son with Joe Scully. He had like raped her whatever when she was younger, and that was Joe Scully's son, Trey. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was the whole thing. Yeah, that was the whole storyline behind that. Yeah, because he was Joe Scully III or something like that. And Joe Scully was dating Tracy Quartermain at the time.
Yeah, I just wasn't with the new Christina. I wasn't with the actress, and I wasn't with her personality. It just really didn't work for me. And it was like, so when is the other Christina coming back?
Right.
When is she coming back?
I think we have just wrapped up this whole review.
Oh yeah, no, we definitely did. I honestly thought we wrapped it up like about 8 minutes ago. About like
we did. Guys, that has been our best and our worst of GH. Guys, let us know in the comments what some of your own guys. I want to thank you guys for tuning in.